Corsair's latest addition to the RGB enthusiast mice market is the Corsair Scimitar, an MMO-focused gaming mouse that packs some pretty useful functionality in an attractive-looking package. But does it hold up to the current king of the hill, the Razer Naga? Let's find out. Starting off with the physical appearance, the build quality of the Scimitar is quite impressive and up to your usual Corsair standard. The mouse is encased with a very pleasant brushed plastic with a yellow accent on the left hand side. Sitting between the accent we have the 12 fully programmable illuminated switches. These switches are textured with a slightly dimpled finish which helps to distinguish between the columns of buttons as well as aiding grip. The LEDs for these buttons are fully customizable with the Razer Q software, and there is a surprising amount of travel distance for side-mounted buttons, but they are pleasant to touch. One of the features that Corsair have included is the ability to shift the entire thumb button array 8mm. This was useful and I did appreciate the feature. Unfortunately, it was still hard to access the entire 12 buttons as accurately as I would like. When I shifted the array back, it meant that I had difficulty accessing the rear 6 buttons. Behind the thumb button array we have a brushed aluminium insert which adds a very nice flare to the mouse. On the right hand side we have some elegant accent lines as well as a textured plastic grip. Personally I quite like this as they do help keep the mouse under control, it feels nice and provides a good rest for my last 2 fingers. As we move up to the top of the mouse we have the Corsair sales logo, thankfully no tramp stamp here, 2 more programmable buttons, which by default adjust the DPI and the mouse wheel. The mouse wheel I have no complaints with and operates very similarly to the Razer Death Adder. No free scroll but some nice tactile notches. At the front of the mouse lies an RGB covered grill and the braided cable, which unfortunately is not removable. The bottom reveals another aluminium block housing the optical sensor as well as 4 fairly large rubber feet for a smooth gliding motion. The mouse I've found is very much suited to those who use a palm grip, as when you have a palm grip you're able to move the mouse and free up your thumb for button presses at the same time. Claw grippers may be disappointed by the feel of the mouse, but for those users with larger palms like myself, I found the mouse fit very comfortably in the hand. In terms of the overall aesthetic, I think Corsair have created a stunning visual achievement. The overall design is sleek and the lines flow gracefully. The only complaint I have is with the yellow accent strip on the left hand side. I do appreciate Corsair trying to establish a unique look, but I also feel that the mouse's aesthetics would have been improved by simply leaving this black. You'll notice that almost every RGB compatible peripheral is almost entirely black, and that's due to any color additions by the manufacturer means that it's another color the user has to complement with their choice of RGB customization. When the peripheral is all black, it means there is a free slate for the user to play with. The Scimitar offers 5 hotspots for RGB customization, that being the rear logo, thumb buttons and backlight, which is used as a status indicator of sorts, mouse wheel and front grille. I was genuinely impressed with how vivid and clear the LEDs were, so much so in fact that when they are operating at full brightness it looks like the keys have been painted on. The color uniformity is very good all round. Customization of the RGB lights is done through the Corsair Utility Engine, or Q for short, which is offered as a free download from the Corsair website. Now this is going to be a hit or a miss for the majority of people. While it still is a very functional piece of software, it's not the most user friendly and takes a while to get used to. I won't do a full review of the software, but I'll give you a quick overview now. There are 3 main menus which you will use, those being assignments, lighting, performance and DPI. Through the assignments you're going to be able to assign functionality to any one of the mice's buttons, and I'll quickly run through what options are available to you. Macro allows you to select macros. Text will allow you to automate a text sequence like so. Keystroke is similar to macro, allowing for a series of button and key presses to be activated. Shortcut allows for a program to be linked, like the shortcut to the Python program I made to open up a series of news and social media pages. Video available here. DPI gives access to the various DPI options. Timer will set a countdown function. While not necessarily the most useful thing in the world, I can see its usefulness when playing something like CSGO or Siege when trying to coordinate a breach. There is also the option to assign mouse button functions, and the media control gives you access to the various media keys. Lighting options are a bit simpler to implement, with the ability to assign 4 effects to the 5 LED zones. Rainbow cycles through the available color spectrum. Color shift and color pulse will alternate between 2 colors, the difference between the two being that color pulse will turn off the LED before switching to the next color. Pulse will flow between the two, and these can either be random colors or predefined. Lastly, solid color sticks to a color of your choice. You're able to identify patterns for each zone of the mouse, and it's a fairly easy task. Lastly, we have the performance and DPI settings. These utilize the backlight by the switches to identify what DPI setting you're currently using. It's a nifty little feature that I would imagine to be quite useful in competitive gameplay, but for more casual situations I found it more distracting than useful. And so began my quest to find the magical button that would turn off this particular function. The Q software doesn't make it easy. You have to go to the custom color option and turn down the brightness all the way down to 0. Why there isn't a button for this purpose already, I don't know. Another little bugbear I had with the Corsair software was getting the media keys to work. Even though you may assign the media keys, you have to go into the settings menu to add in whatever program you're using. A little pop-up box or something would have been nice. The Corsair Q software, as you can see, is not the easiest thing in the world to use. It is functional, and it does provide for some pretty great customization tools, but be prepared if you're coming from a Razer mouse, this is definitely not going to be as plug and play as the Synapse software. Now if you're looking at this mouse, you're most likely looking at the Razer Naga as well. The Naga is after the same market as the Scimitar, and both come in at $79 on Amazon. The Naga you see before you is the non-chroma edition, and compared to the Corsair, the Naga provides 2 extra programmable buttons with the tilted mouse wheel button. The mechanical thumb buttons on the Naga I prefer, as they have a shorter travel distance, and the ridges between the buttons means that I can easily differentiate between them. Also, reaching the bottom row of the Corsair buttons means my thumb tends to drag along the surface of the mousepad, whereas I still have clearance when using the Razer. Having a large palm myself, I also feel the Naga fits my hand better than the Corsair. The build quality I'm going to have to give to the Scimitar hands down. It feels like a more premium mouse in my opinion, partly due to the weight, but also due to the different plastic materials used for the Corsair, giving it the edge. That being said, this is the Razer 2014 edition. The Razer Chroma may in fact be a different story. Comparing the software offerings between the two mice, the Razer comes out on top. I feel like the Synapse software is a much more user-friendly solution than the Q, even though both essentially provide the same level of customization. I will add though that mice are totally subjective to the person, and they are a very personal thing. If you can, I would encourage you to get your hands on both before purchasing. In conclusion, I think the Razer Scimitar is a great addition to the RGB lineup of mice that are ever so popular in today's market. The build quality is great, and they've managed to squeeze a number of customizable RGB spots into a relatively small peripheral. While I did feel the overall shape didn't quite fit my taste, it was still worth checking out if you're in the market for a quality MMO mouse with a good deal of customizability in the aesthetics department. That's it from me guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Remember to give a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.